Hey guys, it's Danny. Today we will be addressing the Phalaenopsis bellina situation, which some of you might know. I had a mother plant for a lot of years. It has a virus. It's kind of fizzled off, but it created a keiki, and I was waiting for that keiki to produce enough roots and enough leaves to be able to separate it, and the time has come. Now, I filmed this last week, and this is about 5 days later after that procedure, and everything looks pretty great. So I think the procedure was successful. But back then I was still rearranging the grow space, so I didn't have a proper background. I'm not entirely sure about this background either. It's a little bright. I'm still deciding where I want to film and stuff, so please excuse like the chaos unfolding in my videos in the next few weeks, I guess. I did want to film the video on the bellina because it really is an orchid that I really care about, and sadly I think it's still sick, as I will explain later in the video. But yeah, I really hope that one day she will pull through. Before we start, don't forget to give this video a like if you enjoy it or if it's useful to you. And also, why not subscribe? It's free and I post multiple times a week. But if you're feeling extra about it, do consider further supporting my channel by becoming a member, checking out the affiliate links down below, checking out the merch, or using the super thanks option below my videos. Right, so with that said, here is how the repotting went with the bellina. Alright, so it is time to address the bellina situation. This is my Phalaenopsis bellina, and I'll give you a short refresher for those of you who might be new to my channel. This is a very old orchid in my collection, and we've been through a lot of stuff, including the first wave of spider mites that I ever had many years ago. I was still in Romania, 8 years ago at this point. Yeah, we've been through that, and sadly those spider mites carried the orchid flag virus. P.S. This is just in my opinion based on what I've seen. There is no way for me to test if it's indeed the orchid flag virus, which is my suspicion. Take it with a grain of salt. But I do believe that's what ailed this orchid for a lot of time, and in the past it actually looked much worse than this. We had a lot of chlorosis on the leaves, and in time it actually did get better, and I was always hoping that this orchid will overcome her virus. Currently there is no known cure for orchid viruses, so the best thing to do is to try and help the, I guess, immune system of the orchid to fight it on its own. Although I don't think at this point, after so many years, it's possible for her to completely eradicate the virus, because as you can see, the situation here is not normal. This is the original plant, which at some point just fizzled out, literally. But it did produce the keiki, and this is the keiki. It looks just like the mother plant. It grew very fast, and I was hoping that maybe the keiki will not have the virus, but it does. I can see just some pitting on this leaf, quite clear here. By the way, she's not quote-unquote contagious. You would need another outbreak, I guess, of spider mites, and in all of these years I didn't have another affected orchid to this extent. So yeah, I'm well aware that she can actually spread the virus if I'm not careful, if I don't clean my utensils, but I'm not that worried. I'm taking the risks. I'm putting her in an IKEA cabinet, all of that fun stuff. So just so you know, there's always a risk. I'm just okay with the risk because I don't want to give up this orchid. But today it is time to unpot the orchid, which is what I've started to do. I'm gonna press on the pot a little bit. This orchid has been in this medium, I don't even have a date. This means it's over 3 years. So it's been here for over 3 years, or maybe about 3 years or so. It is time for it to come out. And you know what? It's a little stuck in here. I have the option to cut the pot as well, but I'm personally not okay with that. I would rather damage some roots which will grow back than damage a plastic pot, put it into the universe when I can reuse it. But yeah, no, I'm not of the principle to save every tiny little root, which most probably sometimes won't even make it. They do not last forever and the orchid continuously puts out roots. No, I'm not that type. I save the pots, especially if they're plastic, and that is my prerogative. Alrighty, so the root system is in very good condition. Most of it belongs to the mother plant though. Oh, the potting mix is not so good anymore. It needed a change. Goodness, look at that. It's save the tag. But first I kind of want to remove this potting mix so I see better what I do. Right, so here we have the keiki, here we have the mother plant. First and foremost, before I go and hack away at the plant, I want to see if I can just pull on it and maybe the keiki will come off on its own. I am not really interested in saving the mother plant. It does not look good. Okay, so I think I might actually have to cut it. I really don't want to mess up the keiki, the stem, so I will mess up the mother plant. Yeah, I will have to go ahead and cut it. Kind of sanitize a little bit my cutting tool. I will have to cut the mother plant here. Okay, well that just happened. Yeah, so I can better see what I'm doing here. I don't have signs of fusarium. I mean, the stem, I don't know if you can see on the video, is green. It's not fusarium affecting my orchid here, it is the virus. Okay, so I'm gonna continue to cut away at this stem. My intent is to remove it completely. I do not want to keep all of this root system. There's really no need for it. And I have a lot of old stem, dead stem here in the back. Maybe you can see better on this side. It's a lot of stem that I don't need. So let's start to remove it from the bottom. Maybe this will help us a little. Ah, there we go. So I pretty much detached it. I still have part of the mother stem, but if it doesn't want to come out nicely, I'm not gonna bother way too much. I'm just gonna remove as much as I can and just leave a little bit of the mother stem still attached. I really don't want to risk damaging this keiki way too much. All right, so I think the roots that we still have are good. Looks pretty okay. Right, so I'm gonna get rid of all of this and come back with a new pot and some fresh new medium. Alrighty, so I will use my typical potting mix now, which is just sphagnum moss and an opaque pot. Now, some of you might ask why I go this route. Well, you just gotta do what you gotta do when you live in an oven, such as me. We're gonna talk about, I guess, my environment in a different video when I'm gonna repot the mini Phalaenopsis orchids in the back. Oh, you don't see them. Don't worry, I'll show them to you. I rearranged my greenhouse. That's why I don't really have a background now. It's just an adaptation to my environment. But my beginner tutorial, they are not gonna be this. Like full sphagnum moss, opaque pots, no ventilation holes. I'm not gonna do that because I would say 90% of all of you watching do not have the same conditions that I do. So my beginner tutorials refer to more, let's say, I don't know if average is the correct word, to the home condition most of you have. That's why the beginner tutorials are just different, and I don't do things how I normally do because those tutorials are not for me. They're for beginners. So I'm just gonna put sphagnum moss around the root system, not going to compact it. I want it to be fluffy and nice. I placed sphagnum moss around the root system of this orchid, did not press it down because we don't want compacted sphagnum moss, we want fluffy sphagnum moss. Fluffy moss retains more water and also more air pockets and is more airy. So that's what we're looking for here, not compacting and suffocating the roots. And the top layer will be bark. This will make sure that I do not have that pesky cyanobacteria forming on the top of my moss, which happens a lot here in my region. But you know, other than that, this bark doesn't do anything. It doesn't aerate anything because it's not in the potting mix. It just helps me avoid cyanobacteria, which is a bacteria that can photosynthesize. So I'm cutting the light pretty much because in my experience, that little creature really plays a number on orchid roots and it's not fun. I don't want it. Right, so here we have my bellina roll done. I'm not gonna water it because the moss was already wet and I think I added a little bit too much water here. It's okay, I can add more moss. So no need to water. Also, I did not use my slow release fertilizer because we have the MSU. So it is May 23. All right. I still kind of like to put the date on the tag even if I'm not using slow release fertilizer because I have a better idea when I repotted stuff. I don't need to go back in my video archive. Right, so this is the bellina all potted up. I can still use the decorative pot she was in. And yeah, we'll see what happens next. We have 2 flower spikes, as you can see here. This is a polychilous type Phalaenopsis, so it will rebloom from those flower spikes for a number of months or years. So no need to cut anything if it's not dry. I am not holding hope anymore for this orchid to become healthy anytime soon, but it survives and I'm happy with that. But yeah, if the whole situation with the mother plant happens again, with the keiki as well, then I know that the virus is starting to win. I feel sad about it, but I'm gonna have to replace her. I'm gonna have to find another beautiful bellina because it is such a gorgeous plant and it smells so nice. Right, so we're done here. I'm gonna do the intro and outro of this video separately next week when hopefully I'm gonna finish rearranging the greenhouse. So I will let future Danny do the outro. All right, future Danny here, and here's the bellina. So yeah, everything went pretty okay with the repotting. I don't have any dehydration signs. The orchid or the keiki had enough roots, so it was the right time to do this. Also, summer is coming and vegetative growth will be quite sped up in the summertime. So I kind of wanted to repot it in the spring so she does catch that full summer growth. And I think what will happen is these 2 flower spikes will pause for a little bit. I don't think they're gonna start to make buds anytime soon, because there was a bit of a shock there. It wasn't like a normal repotting or an easy repotting. I separated the mother plant from the keiki. I believe there is a little bit of a shock there. So I'm not expecting blooms very soon, but that's okay. Honestly, in the end, I just want this orchid to survive, this particular one, because I like it and I love it, but I don't know. It's out of my powers at this point. But anyway, I will keep you up to date with one of my oldest orchids, the Phalaenopsis bellina, which I know many of you... What's happening there? I don't know what the birds are doing, but they're doing something today. Right, so I know many of you know this orchid for a long time and you liked it and it inspired your wish list, so fingers crossed it will pull through. Right, so with that said, thank you so much for watching and hanging out with me today. Hope you've enjoyed this video. Stay tuned for updates, which will happen maybe in a few months, maybe towards the end of the year if I don't have blooms this summer, which might happen, but we're gonna talk about it later. Stay tuned for that. So yeah, with that said, I'll see you all next time. Hope you have a great day and enjoy your orchids. What was this outro? It's not my usual outro. I just winged it. Okay, bye.